Welcome to North Shore Unitarian Church. My name is Lucas Hergert, and I'm the minister here. And I'd like to offer this course for free for anyone who would be interested in taking it, Jesus as Political Radical. And this course is really the culmination for me of many years of studying this topic of the historical Jesus, who Jesus might have been. I was really blessed to get to spend time at Harvard Divinity School studying with some wonderful New Testament scholars, and I continued some of that work in my Doctor of Ministry. And so this is really an attempt to look at some of that historical research and talk about the ways that Jesus was producing not only a spiritual and theological response to the context that he was in, but also a social and political response. I think that Jesus is a character that is one of the most dehistoricized and depoliticized characters in terms of folks we might study from history. There's lots of different reasons for that. One of them being, the millennia of Christian interpretation that really has a particular way of understanding who Jesus was and what Jesus was doing, and in these sort of grand universal terms of being the Son of God and whatnot. And then I also think that, even among liberal and progressive folks who might not ascribe to that sort of theological take, there is this notion that Jesus was a teacher, that Jesus may have been a sage who kind of gave, pearls of wisdom to those who listened. And whatever, those are all fine. But there's also another interpretation that's available. And in order to get at that interpretation, we need to look at the social and political context that Jesus was coming into. The context of Roman-occupied Palestine in the first century was an enormously complicated, challenging, and even brutal context to be entering into. We are talking about one where violence was omnipresent. And we're talking about one where economic domination was just the order of the day. People were being forced off their land. They were being dispossessed. They did not have a voice in terms of political participation. And yet, even in the midst of all of that, there were moments of resistance and moments where people came together to provide some kind of prophetic response to that. And so that sort of complicated tinderbox of forces is where Jesus enters in. And I think that it really just takes a slight kind of pulling off of the veil or scratching the surface to see just how challenging some of Jesus's teachings would be to the context of violence and domination. I think this is a particularly relevant class right now because we are seeing some really, and this is something that comes up age after age, decade after decade, but we see Jesus's teachings being marshaled to support some really regressive social causes. I think that once we take a look at the historical figure, who Jesus was, what Jesus's context was, and the spirit of his teachings in that context, it becomes very, very challenging to think that he would support some kind of regressive or socially conservative policy. So the point of this class is to tell you why I think that is the case. I hope that you join me for it. It's 4 sessions. It's a combination of videos that I recorded. Some of the videos I recorded for the class, so you'll sort of see I'll be referencing things that we talked about, and then there's 2 other ones that I recorded uniquely for this online experience. So it's a little bit of a combination there. Nonetheless, I think that you'll get a lot out of this material if you decide to watch it. And if you'd like to learn more about North Shore Unitarian Church, I encourage you to go to nsuc.org, sign up for our newsletter, and join us for a Sunday service. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking the class.